Thank you for tuning in and welcome back to the Sandwich of Coherency. So, let's just go ahead and jump right into this. As you may have heard, the president has gone to New Hampshire. And he went to, he's on the campaign trail of trying to make the Democrat Party look good because the elections are coming up in November. So, yes, he's out and about making the round. We got about 7 months, I think. But in political time, that's not very long, so you have to get started now because the campaign trails are really beginning. But he's gone to New Hampshire and he decided to boast on the accomplishments and achievements of his administration over the past 14 months. I'm sorry. I misspoke. Let me rephrase that. He went to New Hampshire to lie to people about what his administration has been up to for the past 14 months. And, the thing is, and we say, I say this all the time, they must think that the American people are stupid. Maybe they don't know that they have the internet. And with that comes the ability to fact check what they're saying. Maybe they forget these things. Maybe they're just unaware. I don't know, but maybe someone should tell them. Yes, pardon the rumble. You've got Jen Psaki being asked about the whole budget and the Build Back Better and all that. And how, she states that it's a strategic move to not talk about it. Because it's a garbage budget bill. And that garbage budget bill, is just another plan to, I guess it would bankrupt the United States if that's what they're up to. I guess more bankrupt than it already is. But talking about the Build Back Better bill is basically shooting yourself in the foot. If you want to ensure that your party does not get reelected, that's what you talk about. So I don't know, maybe he should talk about it. Maybe he should. But this administration is absolutely in the toilet when asked about whether or not the weapons that the U.S. is going to send to Ukraine and all this, whether or not the Russians will be, if they're worried that the Russians will be able to reverse engineer it, and according to, I think his name is John Kirby or whatnot, according to the spokesperson from the Pentagon, that's not an issue. We're just more interested in getting the weapons to them. We're not worried about whether or not, they can reverse engineer it. We've seen something like this happen before, lest we forget the Fast and the Furious program. Hey, let's give guns to cartels and see where they go. Oh, wait, they use them to kill Americans. Oh, I didn't see that coming. But hey, that seems to be the way of Democrat administrations. It baffles me. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into this and listen to the president give his little remarks. And we're going to go along with it, and I'm going to pause it here and there because we're going to have to correct these things because these are all things we've previously gone over. We've given numbers. We've pulled up the actual sites, even from the government itself, and corrected what they were saying. And it's just mind blowing because the departments that sometimes that they talk about, it's like, did you not ask them for the information first? I mean, did you not at least take the time to say, hey, should we say this? It's like that never seems to happen. But now we understand, why it's best to keep Biden from speaking publicly. Because I'll be honest with you, most of the time you can't understand what he's saying. And when you can, it's just riddled with half-truths, lies, super duper lies. Okay, now I'm just getting crazy with it. But let's not wait any longer. Let's go ahead and jump right into that.
My first budget that passed and became law, it cut the federal deficit by $350 billion. We cut the deficit, $350 billion. And the budget I propose this year, if it comes to total fruition, will cut the deficit by $1.3 trillion.
Let's stop it right there. So the $1 trillion's way off, but let's think about this $350 billion nonsense he's talking about. Oh boy. I'm not sure. Did he talk to the Congressional Budget Office? Has the White House contacted anybody? But let's go over some actual numbers here. The federal budget deficit for March of 2022 was $193 billion. The federal budget deficit for March of 2021 was $660 billion. Now here's what's interesting. Now I'm going to read this from the Peter G. Peterson Foundation. But the federal government ran a deficit of $193 billion in March 2022, an improvement of $467 billion from the deficit that was recorded in March 2021. This March outlays were $419 billion lower than they were in the same month last year, and revenues were $48 billion higher. The large reduction in outlays was the result of lower spending on 3 coronavirus-related programs: recovery rebates, unemployment compensation, and the Paycheck Protection Program. So if you're saying right now we're at the deficit's at $350 billion, oh man, you guys spent a whole lot of extra money, didn't you? Looks like it might be getting worse. And it's funny because I really wouldn't be touting so much when you're trying to put forth a budget bill this year that's $5.8 trillion. I mean, you're on track to spend $73 trillion over the course of the next 10 years, which is what you're proposing. And you're like, yeah, but we reduced the deficit by $350 billion. We're only going to go borrow another 5-point-something trillion. Okay. I know. So, the cumulative deficit for the first 6 months of fiscal year 2022 was $1.38 billion, or around 60% lower than it was through the first 6 months of fiscal year 2021, reflecting a $620 billion decrease in outlays and a $418 billion increase in revenues. I.e., people went back to work. But, the thing that's left out is the simple fact that what it goes on to say is that the large decrease in outlays is due to the waning federal response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The first 6 months of fiscal year 2022 did not include any recovery rebates, whereas the first 6 months of fiscal year 2021 included 2 separate rounds of payments. In addition, spending on unemployment compensation and programs administered by the Small Business Administration, most notably the Paycheck Protection Program, were much lower in the first 6 months of fiscal year 2022. And the primary driver of increased receipts were individual income and payroll taxes resulting from stronger economic growth, i.e. people who had to go back to work. Higher wages and salaries led to larger amounts being withheld from workers' paychecks, i.e. they had to pay them more money to come back to work. And in return, the federal government took more money out of their paychecks. Oh, man. In addition, certain payroll tax collections were delayed until fiscal year 2022 as a result of legislation enacted last year in response to the pandemic. So basically, what it's translating to is that the government's taking more money. Yes, more people are going back to work, and companies were forced to pay more in order to get them just to come back to work. And in return, the government took more money from you. That's how they're trying to lower the deficit. But let's not be mistaken here. The main driver behind this is the simple fact that they cut the pandemic spending. So basically what they're doing is saying, hey, pat us on the back because we didn't spend more this time. We didn't spend more this year. We deserve a cookie. That's what they're saying. The absolute audacity of this potato. But let us continue.
So my Republican friends start talking about big spenders and the reason why there's inflation. Take a look. Take a look. We've cut the deficit drastically. So look, we're making progress. Over the course of my presidency.
What? Whoa. Oh, the cause of inflation, we cut the deficit. What? This man is absolutely losing it. Why are they still allowing him to pretend to be in charge? But he does go on to continue and say that we created 7.9 million new jobs. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. People went back to work. He talks about how unemployment is down. Well, as we pointed out, people were kicked off unemployment. People's unemployment payments were drastically cut. Employers offered higher wages to get people to come back to work. But then you turned around and took higher taxes from them. And, you continue to blame the problems of inflation everywhere but on your executive orders, on the choices your administration has made and the policies it set forth. This is the absolute result of the White House administration. There is no other to blame for this. I mean, just accept the responsibility. But let's listen to another bit he said during this, because it's hilarious in itself and quite worthy of a listen.
Big reason for inflation is Vladimir Putin. Not a joke. Putin's invasion of Ukraine has driven up gas prices and food prices all over the world. Two major breadbaskets of wheat in the world were Ukraine and Russia. The United States is number 3, and Canada number 4. Well, we saw the most recent inflation data. Last month, about 70% of the increase in inflation was a consequence of Putin's price hike.
It has nothing to do with Putin. It is not. I'm sorry to pause it right there. Hey, let me let it continue.
Because of the impact on gas and energy prices. I'm doing everything I can to bring down the price to address Putin's price hike. That's why I authorized the release of 1 million barrels per day for the next 6 months from our strategic petroleum reserve. And I know the press is always asking me with good reason why I'm always on the phone talking with other world leaders, trying to keep them organized. Well, one of the things I did, went out and got a lot of other countries to agree that they would release petroleum from their SPRO reserves. So we work with the U.S. oil producers to ramp up the production. And we coordinated this release with our partners, allies around the world. And shortly after I made the announcement, another 30 countries agreed to 60 million additional barrels a day on the market.
Don't clap. Don't clap for that. Okay, let's break this down in a way that we haven't done it before. Okay, you want to blame Putin. You want to say this is Putin's price hike. All right, well, let's think about this. You're talking about the rise of fuel prices in the United States. Okay. The United States was energy independent. It was a net exporter of fuel. I mean, that's where we were. The strategic oil reserves were full. The United States had enough to send out, to sell. We didn't have to take it in. So, if the problems that are happening, you're saying, are because of what Putin's doing, let's say that's the case, those problems, those things he's doing would not affect the United States had your policies that took away the United States independence been put in place. Europe would not be dealing with such shortages and high prices if you hadn't put your policies in place, because the United States was supplying them in large numbers. You're the one who put them back on the Russian reserves that they were sending out. I mean, other countries, you're talking about the rise of food, the food prices and other commodities around the world. They are because of your sanctions. See, the sanctions that you put in place on Russia is what kept many developing nations and small countries from being able to get the food deliveries that they were getting, the aid that they were getting, which caused prices to rise there because they have shortages. There's shortages now in many countries due to the sanctions and policies that the White House put in place. So the president can say all day long that this is Putin's price hike, but it's not. What's happening now are the consequences of the actions put in place by the White House. These are the results of the White House administration. Now, this idea, again, I said we're going to break down where the lies are coming from. As they say, oh, I coordinated and 30 other countries, I got them to do it. You didn't do anything. You did nothing. Okay? It had nothing to do with what you wanted. The United States is a member of the International Energy Agency, the IEA. We've talked about this before, and we talked about this when it came out, when they were talking about releasing the 30 million barrels. I mean, we're another one to release another 180 million barrels. 1 million barrels a day. The United States uses 20 million barrels a day, pretty much. So I mean, if you were, and now you have the White House authorizing, 446,000 acres of federal land to now be used for federal leases, for leases on federal land for drilling and oil production. Because the elections are coming up and they need this win. They need this to look good. They need to do something so that as they get closer to the polls, they have something they can run on, something they can try and say that they did so that the people will get behind them. But what I want to read to you is from the Independent Statistics and Analysis, the U.S. Energy Information Administration, the EIA. On March 1st, the United States Department of Energy committed to releasing 30 million barrels of crude oil from the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve to ensure an adequate supply of petroleum in response to Russia's further invasion of the Ukraine. This SPR release is part of a coordinated effort among 31 members of the International Energy Agency, the IEA. Other IEA member countries collectively agreed to release an additional 30 million barrels of petroleum from the emergency reserves, bringing the total release to 60 million barrels. The U.S. is releasing 30 million of that 60 million barrels. I mean, he said 30 other countries. Yeah, that's the other 30 members. There's 31 members. The U.S. is one of them. You did nothing. I mean, this is just incredible, but they're touting it out to the American people, hoping you don't find out the rest of that information. The simple fact that he's boasting himself, hey, pat us on the back for doing what we were a part of, something that was supposed to happen. It's not a matter of he wanted to do it. There's actually protocols that are set in place for this to happen. So according, this release commitment is the first emergency drawdown since 2011, when IEA members collectively released 60 million barrels in response to disruptions in Libya. So, there are times where this happens. Again, like I said, there's protocols set in place. So the United States, the president it's not like he has anything to do with that. That's just part of being a member of that organization. So again, like I said, the president has gone to New Hampshire and has just boasted on with many, many lies, and I'm hoping more and more people will catch on to this and not be fooled by the smoke and mirrors. Don't be fooled by it. I hope that more media outlets will call them on this, because I'm sorry, this is just a failure of this administration. This is a tragedy. This is a tragedy. The man just goes up there and just spits lies the whole time, incomplete truths. And people just blow it over like, that's just Biden being Biden. That's the problem. Biden being Biden is a problem for the United States that needs to be corrected. Okay? Come 2024, I hope he's not running for re-election. And if he is, I hope people are wise enough to not fall for the rope-a-dope a second time. I'd say that, we could, invoke the 25th, but next in line, again, is no better. So again, we have to hope that things can improve through the legislative branch and make our way through this. But let's see what happens, and hopefully, we will see more blue skies, more happiness, and just more good things happening in the world. But I thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.